Well, here I am again, and I'm having a look at trees. I really do love trees. These are gum trees. Just look at the sun dappling across its bark and the variations in its bark. They shed their skin, shall we say. Once it's hardened, it strips off and the nice fresh bark is left underneath. Look at the blue of the sky, looking straight up. They just tower above you. And here, the silvery greys. There's quite a few colours in it really when you start looking, but it's the sinuous shape. Look at the light hitting it on the left there, and the shape as it sort of heads up into the sky like that. They're so rounded and just beautiful. So let's head back to the studio now and see what we can come up with and how we'll recreate this beautiful scenery that we saw this morning. So I just start by grabbing some materials that I may or may not use. I've grabbed a background fabric. I've grabbed this one. I used this one before to suggest mud and sand, but I also like that it has the colours of the gum tree. And it has also, it looks like the dappled shade that was on the gum tree as well. I've grabbed this one. I do a lot of my own dyeing. This is an eco dyed linen. That's pretty well nice as it is. Here's another piece just to bring in those lovely peachy tones. Now I've grabbed this one here. It has a few different colours in it. Nothing that doesn't belong. I think I like it. The darker colours here could be shading. It could be down the bottom. Could be a lot of things. Could be leaves. I've gotten one that's a bit more gauzy. I don't know whether I'll use them. Here's some silk. There's a scrap of silk. I like the tattered edge. I like the grooves in it that makes it look like bark. Okay. This one here, simply because I like the colours. It's, yeah, I can see that that would fit in. It's interesting. And that one there, even though it's a pattern, if I'm using a tiny bit of it, you won't even see the pattern. You know, I might send a bit like straight up across that. I forgive my pink nails, and I've been dyeing. Here's another one, grey. Greys and browns and mottled, and yeah, pretty well perfect for what I was after. And here's a piece of grey linen. And then some blue dyed white linen that is patchy and looks like sky, and I use it quite a lot. I make it myself. All right, let's see where this leads us. All right, I'm going to start with this one. Believe me, I've got no real plan. We'll just see how it goes. But I would quite like to have a tree. I loved those sensuous kind of shapes. And I like the darker bit down the bottom is kind of suggesting the bottom where it was, I don't know where I'm going here, but I'm just going to go with it. The bottom where all of the old growth was. Well, look, that's almost a pinky colour there. That's lovely. So there you go. I just let that lead me, and already I'm seeing a gum tree. So I'm going to take maybe this bit out and that bit. And I can always use this little bit, not to waste it. I could pop it in as another branch or a bit of shading, or just try it different places and see if I like it. See what I mean about this piece was mottled, but yeah, it's got a lot of the things I want in it. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So let's take it. Now the beauty of this kind of linen is that it will fray. So I'm going to take a small bit of this and show you what I mean. Okay, so now I'm going to push and tease, get some holes in it. You see what I mean? What do you think? Not bad. So something like that. I'll add little bits like that. At the moment, I'm just in my mucking around planning stage. So there's lots of places I like that. It's fine. All right, we'd better decide which direction that the sun is coming from. I'm thinking this side. So where there's sun, there's going to be some lighter bits. Let's see if we can use this at all. Yep. Or further up. So we can use something like that. Not bad. So what else did we have? Something darker. I'm thinking something there because the sun's coming from here, then this bit would be dark. Why not? So I just keep adding. I've got some of this. Well, maybe it's an interesting patch on there. See how I'm just basically cutting shapes that, you know, aren't square or not round. They're just maybe a leaf shape or something. You know, that seems to work best. So we had this. To me, I just automatically think it looks like the bark. So I'm just going to do some strips. I'm not going to make them perfect. I don't do perfect. So you can just watch this speed it up for a moment whilst I fiddle and I try different things, and nothing's set in concrete, you know, it's just playing. We'll see what we end up with. Trying to get some of those upper branches in. I loved the way that it just curves upwards, following the sun. Don't know whether that's right, but let's put that in and see what happens. Well, we could use something like that, couldn't we? I've chosen a white background here, so it really doesn't matter if I don't cover it all, because it could be clouds. And once again, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to make it into some sort of shape. Dark, deep blue, which is what it's like up at the apex. But, oh look, we could even have some little colours underneath, like looking like leaves, couldn't we? It does, looks like a shadow of a leaf. Well, we might think about that. I haven't used any of this one yet. We'll see what it does. So it was very goldy, and it's a pattern. So what do we think? It's a pity not to use those leafy kind of shapes. And remember I said this looked quite good. As the ones that are further away, that could work. It's the experimentation that's fun and not being overly concerned. So that does look kind of like in the background. You might see some. I might add something in the foreground, who knows. Try it if you like. Or I might just cut another little thing like that. I don't think you see much of it, so that's okay. It's just, I'm just making sure that it's sort of leaf-like at the bottom. Got a few shapes out. Okay, so what we've got here is we've put in some of this blue gauze, which I like to use because it can be pulled apart and pinched and poked. That's our background. We want it to go down first, behind these other ones. We've put some little bits of cut out materials, vaguely leaf shaped, behind it, and it looks like the background, shadowy, dapperly leaves looking up. Same here, there's a piece underneath there, see? And then we decided, okay, probably it should have a couple of real closer leaves showing so that we get the full idea. So I'm lifting up and I'm just, let's put a dab under you to keep you sort of there. Not a great deal. Keep that blue down. But pretty soon then I would need to think about what I want in the background here. Nothing too much. So I'm happy enough with the start of the top, and I've used a dab of glue, and now I'm just going to use a little bit of neutral kind of thread. And whilst it's still down on the table, I could put a few pins in if I wanted, but really I'm going to concentrate on just getting that tacked down. Now I'm just doing this one by hand just for the sake of it, but if you want to use fusible web and get the pieces down in a more permanent way, you could do that, and then you could use your sewing machine and have a grand time doing it that way. Just for the sake of this, I'm wanting to show people that it can be done just with simple stitching. So I'm holding the blue down at the same time as I'm holding the trunk down. Quite happy with that, and I'm just going to hold that piece a little bit as well. This stuff can be a little bit tricky to do, so I'm just going to do some seed stitches here and there, and that will anchor it a whole lot better than just doing a running stitch on the edge, because it'll just fray out. But that's another good way to hold it down. It doesn't have to be straight lines. I can do a bit of seed stitching here. Right, well, you can see I've lost some of the ones on top that I've put aside for now, but I have gotten a lot of that so that I can pick it up and move it around and not lose the main bits. Yeah, it might have changed from what I originally thought, but I don't really care. I'll go with that. So let's have a look so far. I quite like the colours. I've added in a little bit more background, not a lot, because I don't want to detract from the tree, which is the main thing. And so I've decided I'll bring the sewing machine in just for a little bit, and what I'm doing is just some lines in that background to hold it down and to suggest, I don't know, hills and rises and dips in all kinds of things. And here on the tree, just getting some basic lines in to hold the main areas of the trunk down, and pretty soon we'll be ready for the end, and the end is going to be in another second part, I think, because we've gone on far enough in this video. So as you can see here, I'm going to go slowly now and you can actually see the work. I am managing to get quite a few pieces down. I don't mind, there was a bit of a ripple there, I don't mind, I could use that. But instead of doing straight lines, I'm curving them around each other. That looks more natural, I think. And so the next time I go up, I might make sure that I have gotten something else attached in there. And I'm still not too worried. I can always take things away. I can cut things out of it. I can do a lot of things. But this is still just the background. And very soon, and I think we're going to make it in part 2 of this video, we're going to do the fun stuff, the hand sewing and the making it all look more natural, more how we want it. Just a little bit more here, and I think, you know, where we had those background leaves behind the blue gauze, I'm just putting in a little bit of a vague leaf shape up and down there, these spear end kind of shapes, just to sort of suggest what we wanted it to be and to hold it down. There it is. So that's it. I think we're ready for part 2. So I hope you'll join me, and if you've enjoyed it so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more. Any of the links below and you can find me there. Thank you.